I'm super excited to share this video with you guys. My name is Matt Tometz, and I'm going to take you through the first of a multi-part video series on explaining how to read research literature. Now, in this first video, I'm going to explain understanding the scientific method and the research process. So why is it important to explain how to read literature? Why is it important to make and watch this video? So over the past 2 years completing my master's thesis, being in literature, in research, consuming stuff every day, only after that process do I feel even slightly comfortable consuming literature. And because everything is evidence-based nowadays, I believe that people don't fully have the background, let alone the basic knowledge in how to truly, accurately, optimally consume research. Now, that's not to say I'm an expert, but if I can help you guys improve your critical thinking skills, some tips and tricks in consuming literature, then I'm definitely going to take the opportunity to do so. So first, what's the point? Just to create some context for this video, why it's important to be an informed consumer of research literature. Just how you would be familiar with hopping into a new sport, you would know the rules, how to play, things like that. Just because it's reading, and we all do it, research literature is a very specific type of reading, and that's why it's important. If we think about the goal of reading literature, the context of consuming it, it's to implement the findings into our own life, our own professions to get the best results. And consequently, we want to be able to read the literature, analyze it, critique it in the best way possible, so then we can most accurately implement the results. So why is it important to read research? And this is getting into the scientific method. So the scientific method is basically this process of, you have a question, you formulate a hypothesis of what's going to happen, you go actually do it, you evaluate, analyze what happened, and then you make a discussion or a conclusion. And then you go back to the beginning, and then you ask an even better question. And I got this from Mike Israetel, but he says that we're never truly going to find the truth. But if we can get that much closer to it, right? If we can be that much more less wrong using science, then we should definitely do so. Now, I'm not saying that research is the end-all be-all. I believe that there's equally half as much validity in anecdotal evidence as there is in research. Anecdotal evidence being your own experiences, your own trial and error, your own scientific method of what's worked or hasn't worked for you in the past. And that's important because just so there's a context to this video, there's a context to consuming research for the end goal of implementing it into your own life. And it has to be implemented with your coaching style, your budget, your facilities, your athletes, and things along those lines. So if you can implement what's worked and hasn't worked for you in the past in your own specific context, plus being able to optimally understand when you read literature, if you can combine those two things, I believe that you're going to set yourself up to be in a pretty good spot to succeed moving forward. Next, you have to ask yourself why you're reading the literature. Is it to prove a point? Is it to cherry pick for a specific sentence for a reference? Is it for your own thesis or research project? Or is it just to familiarize yourself with a specific topic? And it's important to ask that question because it creates context. Why it's important to understand what goes into a research study and just the overall research and publishing process. Now, formal research started for replication studies. If there was a formal way to document and distribute your methods, your findings, people could replicate it, do it in their own setting, but with the same methods, and see if your studies are actually true if they were able to replicate it. Replication studies aren't exciting. You're literally redoing what someone else did just to see if you got the same results. And with how competitive journals are, how many journals there are, what people are willing to pay the subscription to read the studies for, people don't want to read what's already been done, which kind of violates the whole point of the scientific method in the first place. But consequently, because it's so competitive, people aren't going to, or journals aren't going to publish null results. So in research, you have a hypothesis. What do you think is going to happen? And it's kind of confusing to think about at first, but you're not accepting the change. You're rejecting nothing happening, if that makes sense. So sometimes when nothing happens, that's still just as important to figure out what doesn't work as opposed to what does work. Because if we can compile a list of what hasn't worked in the past, then we can build on, evaluate why it didn't work, so we can make more informed decisions in the future to try to figure out what does work. So there's a big gap in just the publishing process because there's a lot of money involved. Journals have to publish what people want to read so they'll pay for it. But if we're not publishing what doesn't work, then that's potentially half of the studies out there that we can learn from. Also, by understanding what really goes into a research study, you can get inside the brains of the researcher, and that'll help you better analyze the research study. Why they did certain things, why they phrased certain things certain ways, and things like that. With the intro, you can figure out, are they cherry picking references? Are they using the references of the most foundational studies on that specific topic? Is it a new idea? Are they justifying their reasoning in the best way? With the methods, you can figure out, does that make sense? Is that replicable? Does it apply to my own context? Like I said earlier, you can go to the results and say, are those the right tests? Are they showing them in the right way, and things along those lines? And then with the conclusion, which is the biggest part, are they valid in saying what they're saying? Does their claim make sense with their reasoning, how they did it, and how they analyzed it? So with this new context, this new frame of reference, this new set of critical thinking skills, this new set of questions to ask yourself, this new understanding of what actually goes into a research study, you're going to better understand the literature when you read it, which will lead you to better implementation and application of the results and the findings, which is going to set you up for more success in the future, going back to our end goal of reading research literature in the first place. Please subscribe if you want to stay up to date with this video series. Please hit that like button if you like the video, and comment down below for feedback and what you want to see next.